Now the other side, this side I should say, there is a fortification called Claudia, which complemented the other two fortifications. We've got the one at the top there, where I've just been to, and this one here. So once you've seen Ehrenberg Castle, been up to Schlosskopf up there, and crossed this bridge, the Highliner 179, it's time to see Fort Claudia. Built, or completed I should say, 1645. It controlled this side of the pass, which is below, next to the Via Claudia. In fact, the fortifications are there to defend the Via Claudia, although mainly from the north, which proved to be a little bit of a problem a couple of times, because Ehrenberg Castle was captured and the local Tyroleans had to recapture it, which wasn't all that easy. And we've got some fantastic views of the bridge here, look at that. Amazing. And somebody's done some art up here with bits of rock on tree stumps. So it says it's 1/4 up here. I have noticed I've been slightly faster though than the times quoted. If you wanted to go at the very bottom, it's 3/4 hour. Well, that was the quickest 15 minutes in my life. So unlike Ehrenberg, which was built in the 13th century, Fort Claudia was built in an age of gunpowder. So 1645, so technology is different and the fortress must serve a different purpose. But this fortress is clearly designed to defend only from the north, and that is because of walls which came from it, which offered additional defences, and they can still be seen in the forest. There we go, there's the lady who's named after Claudia de' Medici, Princess of Austria, and she was born the 4th of June in Florence and died 20th December 1648 in Innsbruck. Hasn't got the date of her birth though. This type of wall was typical, I think, for the 17th century. With gun positions could be mounted on them. You see, it's nowhere near as high as Ehrenberg. Obviously it's a ruin. It's a ruin which has been somewhat saved though, because work has been done on it, work was done on it from 1999 to 2007 to restore it as much as possible. There'll be more information on this in the description, so please look at that, and there'll be links as well where I try and write as much as I can, and I might add to things later as I find out new things. An interesting point put forward is that Tyrol didn't have a great deal of resources. Obviously, to build these castles, that cost a huge amount of cash. Part of it was done, of course, by forced labour. There was indentured labour, or there was, which people could be actually paid for. There was also slave labour. slave labour is quite the correct way of putting this. Some of them were criminals who had been sentenced. So that clearly had a part of it as well. But the idea was that people who had to see that there were some kind of military defences being made, because that was the way of forcing them to do military service. Obviously military service is never very popular. It certainly wasn't popular in an age where people had already to work very long hours in the fields to ensure they had enough crops to survive the winter. Going off fighting wars that had nothing to do with them really wasn't particularly popular. But there's a weak point in the defence. If an enemy could get up there, I don't know what it's like from the other side, maybe it'd be very difficult. But that would look down on the fort. I think when they built this, they considered this to be weaker than Ehrenberg. And clearly the Schlosskopf up there was built to be higher than Ehrenberg. And that was built later. That was the top, the last line of defence in a way. Thing is, it's so high up that if an enemy did actually control the valley below, there wouldn't be a great deal that they could do from up there, I would have thought. I'd like to put that over as a theory. Is it too far up to control the valley? What do you think? Goes a bit against military doctrine, of course. The British military doctrine is to capture the high ground, whereas American military doctrine was to capture the roads. And it's time for me to walk across it and go back home. Or back to the van, I should say.